Hello y'all, I thought I'd offer my 2 cents on the whole JanAnimation issue as I sell my whole setup for my fairy tale segment I'm doing. Well, this is going to be a raw vlog format, basically me reading off a speech from a script that's right over here. If you see me staring over there, that's me just referencing my notes occasionally. But yeah, I don't intend to do many raw formats like this. I prefer my more edited work. Editing is one of my specialties, so I try to focus on it. But just for occasional rare issues like JanAnimations takedown, I will occasionally just throw out my raw opinion on it. Hopefully we don't have any more issues like this because that would be rather depressing. Be forewarned, because this is my raw issue and there's not going to be many edits, there will be the occasional maybe swear word in there because this is a very personal issue. Because, well, what's this great cherry point? Fanworks, FanAnimations is actually one of the most beautiful things about this fandom. Like, this show has created such beautiful artwork, animations, games. The list is endless. You know, like going into cherries and all that. Like, this show's inspired so much. And JanAnimations is one of the pinnacles of what this show can do. It can inspire people to create their own animation. And then we got cease and desist over it. To summarize, I am pissed the fuck off. This is horribly Hasbro, you screwed up. I mean, yes, you could argue, I could see them possibly, because every company is always worried about their copyright claims. But this is a stupid way to handle it. You are cultivating a good reputation, minus the derpy issue, and like earlier and then right after that, the fighting is magic thing. You are cultivating a good fan following. A few hiccups here and there, but overall. And then this is an issue where you screwed up. You could have handled this so much better. You could have offered them like a fan license or something like that. It could have been like nothing, but just something in paperwork to just sort of allow them to continue. Because they're doing this is great for your show. Instead, you just give them a common cease and desist. Which, it's just, you're going to create an explosion of counter love in the fandom. It's not going to work out. It's just going to be a mess. You could have handled this better. And well, like, if you can't figure out my opinion on this, I'm still annoyed by this and greatly, and I'm trying not to swear too much, but the best way I like to summarize it is my immediate reaction to after finding this out and finding it actual was true, not just some sort of joke, was to go and create an Indiegogo campaign to actually get sort of a budget to help them defend their rights against Hasbro's bullshit. But after looking further into it, I found out that JanAnimations does not want to fight this, even if they could get like the funds for like a lawyer or something like that, just because of, well, they actually do want to work for some company like DHX Animation, because, you know, if you haven't noticed, they're extremely talented. And if they would fight Hasbro over this could blacklist them for life. So I do understand why they don't want to fight this, and we can't really fight the battle for them. So it's sort of self-destructive. Yeah, there's really nothing we can do. But let me just say that I'm not a lawyer, first of all. Let me just say I'm not. But I am an electronic media and broadcasting student. Copyright law is extremely big in our subject, and heck, even my editing class, we have an entire segment dedicating to how we can bend copyright law to our advantage, and that was actually what created my Fairy Tale Equestria Girls crossover thing, which I've successfully fought against both Hasbro and Pony Cannon, which is sort of the people who's in charge of Fairy Tale's original soundtrack, which I used in it. So I do have some experience on the issue of copyright law. If I'm not exactly an expert, I do have experience in it. And let me just say I can offer my idea of why they were exactly targeted, more or less now, but there's really 3 reasons I have why they're targeted. One, they're popular, especially this is where it comes with why now, because they really are becoming incredibly popular. And I say, well, isn't that not fair? Well, yeah, it sort of is not fair, but that's just sort of how these companies work. If there's something that people are doing they can't agree with, if it's a small scale sort of abuse, they can't find you. Even if something that is genuine copyright violation, like making your own toy line, selling in a small company or something like that, or it's actually actual copyright and trademark abuse, they can't even get all those. It's only the big things that really get their attention, and JanAnimations, to their credit, has become very big with what, like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. But they become big, so they're easy to see. The other issue is their show style animation. I mean, almost identical, where people are confusing with a show. This necessarily does not mean it's not protected by parody, but when you're trying to say it's its own original thing, which is sort of what parody law is, you're sort of referencing the source material and sort of like representing it, but you aren't trying to copy it. When you're doing this so accurately, it sort of makes it harder to defend. You can still defend it, but it makes it harder. Which sort of, it's a snowballing effect. And that goes into the third reason, is that sort of JanAnimation was going to go away from parody into it's basically a side series, which is sort of like harder to find, but like, well, let me just say, Button's Adventure, at least how it was presented, was just going to be like a side series following Button from MLP, which is basically built around its own humor and all that. It's set in like Equestria, but it's not necessarily parodying Equestria, it's just sort of using its setting and all that, which makes it hard to defend under parody, unlike their earlier works like their Picture Perfect Pony or the Don't Mind at Night, which was like a dual parody of like MLP and also the Don't Mind at Night original video, for those who have not seen it. Those things are easier to defend. It's just sort of a snowballing effect, where basically they're so close to the show, and on top of being so close to the show, they were sort of getting away from easily defined and protected parody. Hasbro and the popularity made them in the public light, so when Hasbro's lawyers finally got around to seeing this and were like, okay, we need to step in. Was it a stupid decision? Yes. But that's sort of the reason. Become popular, and like because it could be mistaken for the show's content, they were attacked by Hasbro's lawyers and representatives and so on and so forth. And well, that's why say something like the .mov series won't be protected. It's different style. It's directly parodying, like making fun of, like just sort of like go into the extreme of it, of MLP, so it is like fully protected under fair use parody law. But whenever we was taken for a show, like I'll laugh anyway to mistake the MLP series for actual like show content. You really need to get your eyes checked, and no, you need to get your eyes and ears and sort of every senses checked. But yeah, that's the idea. Like basically it was getting too close to show material, and Hasbro's lawyers freaked out. So what are we going to look for? So where do they go from here? Well, like I said, it's sort of unfortunately JanAnimation seems to be at a dead end. They don't want to fight it because, again, they want to get professional careers sort of out of this fan work. So they can't exactly go and fight Hasbro, because that would blacklist them, not just from Hasbro and DHX, or like other media videos like, hey, they sued them. It's an unfortunate thing. Nobody wants to hire someone who sued someone else. It's just, and yeah. So yeah, they can't directly fight. JanAnimation is going to die. A long ongoing issue how to defend something like this is to get Hasbro to reevaluate how their public sentiment on Fanworks. More specifically, actually have some sort of open license to Fanworks. Where I guess the best example I have is sort of how some game developers are offering on their website or so on and so forth, saying that yeah, you can go up and use Just Plays and all that. We completely approve of that. Go at it. Do something like that for Fanworks. And just sort of like give it where like you're saying, giving them permission to make Fanworks, blah blah blah. You can't profit off it, so on and so forth. Some sort of like open public license. I like to say Creative Commons for Fanworks. Again, a lot of this is really protected under parody, fair use law, and so on. But an added layer of security is always better, and it sort of helps smooth things over. Because the main reason Hasbro has to defend this and their other trademark law is because the one fault many people have brought up, I guarantee, in issues like with trademark and well, specifically more at trademark, if you don't defend your stuff, you lose it. So they have to defend it, because bigger companies would take this, because if you haven't noticed, the MLP series has become extremely popular as of late. So they do want to defend the property. Unfortunately, fans are getting in the crosshairs of this. So let me just offer some short-term solutions for like other fan works. Well, first let me just say, try to make clear that your thing is a parody. What I mean by parody, because it is a loose term, is that it references the source material, so like basing it off in like your knowledge of it, but it isn't mistakable for the show material. It's its own thing. That's sort of the idea behind parody. You're referencing something to make a point. Which, when I mean referencing them, you can actually have like characters and all of that, but they must be to make a point, because you can only sort of use that content. But they're over at the end of the day, you're creating your completely original thing. That's behind like the parody clause of fair use. So if you do something like this, you can make show accurate animation, but it still must overall the concept be like you're parodying, sort of like making a point that is different from the show itself. And also going into like, don't make long ongoing, don't make something like Button's Adventure where it's basically a side story set within Equestria and getting sort of like show level animation, because that'll get their alarms going off again. Again, works like the .mov series, like it or hate it, Hasbro would be stupid to see, like even stupider than this, to try to go after that for not, because that is such a clear example of like parody law. It's very distinctive, it's referencing, it's basically making a point, like parodying of what the material is. And other more like lovable works like Luna's, I can't remember its name, the children's song, Children of the Night. Luna's Children of the Night video that's finally got animated. If you haven't seen it, please see it. That is something that is itself, it's a distinct animation style, it's like music and all that, like it's its own thing. And Hasbro, they could try to go up there, but they have a better case than JanAnimation. Overall, at the end of the day, this is stupid. It's a pile of stupid. Hasbro is acting stupidly based on stupid copyright law. It just basically confounds it all. I find this in... Okay, it's bleak. I'm gonna say it's going to be bleak going forward, but it's not as bleak as some people are blowing out to be. As long as you aren't something like JanAnimations that's offering sort of show accurate animation, its own side story that's not directly parodying the sort of work, you should be fine. I mean, JanAnimation had to get to like 100,000 subscribers before they were actually sort of attacked by Hasbro's lawyers. What we need to do going forward is Hasbro has to be clear about their opinion on Fanworks, one way or another. JanAnimation and also earlier Fighting is Magic, they were attacked so late in the game. Hasbro could have easily, like, it's not like they weren't known. They were known months in advance of like being cease and desist. They need to get these sooner. And they have to just sort of, instead of where they build, they have to sort of be clear about what they're like, what they approve of, what they're going to go after. They have to be clear with it. They have to be open, because if they don't, it's going to create more big fan explosions of rage over something like this bullshit with JanAnimation. So yeah, keep calm and open mind, and also please don't flame Hasbro directly over this. Like with the Derpy situation, that does not be adults with the issue. You blow it out and act like children, so flaming them, they would not treat you seriously when we actually are trying to offer some sort of like compromise, or like I said, some sort of like common. So yeah, keep it serious. Alright, till next time, keep calm, blah blah blah, out.